Hi everyone, it's Saturday morning. It's time for machine embroidery. I hope everybody's having a great weekend. Okay, what are we going to do today? We're going to talk about perfect placement, how to place things. We're going to go back to the very beginning before machines had all these fancy things in there to make placement easier. Because once you know why you do certain things, then it makes more sense. So then you appreciate your machines. Okay, when you had to do them hard way, like we did in the old days, and some of us still have some of those older machines. And the older machines didn't have snowmen, it didn't have laser sighting and a lot of stuff. So we're going to talk about how we did it in the old days, and then we're going to work forward to the new times. Okay, so let's get started. So what we're going to talk about is we're going to do just a simple design. And what makes placement so easy is being able to have some kind of software in order to print out some kind of template. The Embrilliance is very affordable. You can go to embrilliance.com. You can also buy it through the store. And I'm thinking in Embrilliance Essentials is maybe $149. It's not that expensive, not compared to digitizing software. Because most of us don't want to digitize. Digitizing isn't the easiest thing on earth to do. I mean, it's easy to do, it's hard to perfect, to get good results. But most of us just want to tweak our designs, take colors out, put colors in, put text, resize it. Maybe if you have a small design that you want to put on a border, you can duplicate it. You can, and if it's big and you have a small machine, I think you can even split designs on it. So it makes, but more importantly, you can print out a template. And this is the secret. This is the secret to all of them, including new technology. So being able to have some software that'll print a template. In the past, if you have digitizing software, they will print your templates for you. So if you have Palette or PE Design or Masterworks, I still have old Masterworks and I love it. And unfortunately, it's not supported anymore. So behind me, you can see the little corner of it right there is the corner of my old computer that doesn't dare go on the internet, and I don't do anything but digitize on it because I can't afford to lose my Masterworks. In fact, I have it on like 3 computers, old legacy computers. And the other one is if you have the old Designers Gallery Studio, that worked. Embroidery works. Who else? Buzz Tool. We start out with Buzz Tools. That's the first thing we had years ago. Any of those will work fine to be able to print this out. And what is this? It's a printout of your design in actual size, and it puts this most important crosshair in there. And no matter what, whether you have brand new machines that have cameras and whatnot, it helps to have a printout. Why? Because you can place it exactly where you want it. And then how do you use these? So remember this tool. It comes with your machines. It's actually an eyelet cutter. Who makes eyelets? Really? I don't. No, I'm not making my own eyelet fabric. You can buy it like that. So anyway, what you do with this is I'm going to put holes, use it to put holes in this. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm simply going to use a mat. Don't do this on your table because it'll make a hole in your table, and mark it up. And each of the crosshairs, I'm just going to cut out the little hole. Each of the 4 quadrants and the center. And you'll see why that's important in a minute. Oh, that one didn't pop through. There we go. And if you can see, it makes little holes. See, there's a hole right there. It makes the little holes for targeting. So what you can do is you decide where you want this placed. Where on your design you want it placed. And I'm going to use a friction marker. So you decide where you want it to go. So is it showing? Nope. Okay. I'm going to mark each of these little holes that I made. And the center. Yep. So you can see the 4 dots. And you don't have to do this, but I'm going to do it so it makes it easier to see. I'm going to connect these dots to make a crosshair, because I want you to be able to see that really well. Okay? And this would be, where those dots on the outside is the outer boundaries of your design. Now, one thing we'll talk about how your machine interprets the design. Because there'll be times where it'll tell you that the design is outside your hoop. So if we make a square out of this, we're just going to rough in a square. To your machine, your design fills the entire square. So even if your design is in the middle or something in the middle, like that, if you hoop it such that a little corner of this is outside the design area, and that happens when you rotate things, then that little corner will tell you you have to use a bigger hoop, because it's not going to fit in that little whatever hoop you're using. Okay, so now that we have this, we're ready to hoop it. We get one piece. Don't need 2 right now. And this is something I like to use, and I'm going to do it first with the 4x4 hoop. And I'll show you what I mean. These are templates. And they don't come with the new machine, the brand new machine, which I guess they figure you have the camera and you don't need it. Well, I still use it, because if you can hoop fairly close to where your exact center is, especially if your design is just hitting the limits of the hoop. Because when you're looking at this template, this is your sewing area. So if your design falls outside of this area, the grid, then it's not going to sew there. So say here's my design, and see here's what happens with, say this is where I wanted it to place. See how the little corner of that square is outside the sewing area? That is enough to tell your machine the design is too big for the hoop you've selected. Go change to a bigger hoop. And you go, I know damn well it fits in there. But yeah, no it doesn't. So being able to hoop straight is of great importance. And you want to this helps you to get 99.9% there on the first try without a whole lot of adjusting. Okay? And so what you do is you read this template so that you can see the letters A, B, C in logical order. Okay? I don't know. We're going to use this hoop. And this is just a simple little design. Because this can be used for a couple things. This goes underneath. So what I do is I will get this close. This just fits. Now, how this fits in is there is a top to your hoop, and you can usually feel it, but I can't see it, which is a little triangle. See if you can see the little triangle there. That's the top of your hoop, and it matches up. There is a corresponding little triangle on the bottom part of the hoop right there. So what you're going to do is so this has to be at the top. Now these things have these little nibbies in here that you can usually use as a guide. However, these nubs are not exactly in the center of your sewing area. And how you can see is if I put this into place, look here at the top, see how the line is right there? But the nibby is right there, which means the hoop is these are not quite right. So actually notice this comes over farther than that side too. That's just the way it's designed. So what I do, and I line up the hoop, bottom of the hoop next to it. Let me see. Yeah, you can see. You could put that double-sided tape, Wonder Tape, underneath to help hold it still, but it's not, I don't find it's necessary, because now I can line up my crosshairs, which is the center of my design, right there. See how that's right over top of the grid? Helps to loosen the hoop first. And I just set it in. I set 2 corners in. So now see, I'm still maintaining these lines over the center grid. Okay, and then just press it down, tighten. And I had to tighten too much, so I got some uneven tension. So I just popped it off, popped it back on. The grid lines are still on target. Okay, I am 99% there. Okay, all right, let's go to the machine and we'll stitch out this little design. We can put this hoop in. Okay, and let's talk about targeting. Okay, see, the machine is there. It's in the machine, set and ready to go. And embroidery. Okay. In the old legacy days, the days of the Esprit, the Spire, we did not have 9 targeting points like we do now. We only had 2. We had center and we had lower left-hand corner. You use the lower left-hand corner when you were doing text, because you would use this as your reference and it would do like A, B, C. It would stop here. Then you would move your fabric and start back here and then continue on. That's what the lower left was. Now we have 9 targeting points. But mostly in the old days we used just the center. Okay, so we're going to pretend we had center. For one thing, we want to make sure we were straight. Okay, we'll talk but in the old days, we had no way of knowing it until after we sewed it out, whether it was straight or not. You could look at this and, yeah, I think it looks pretty straight, but that's all we could tell. Okay, so we would literally go to the arrow keys on embroidery and you would lower the needle, and right now, see, that's really close. Maybe it's 1 off. Say this is where we hooped it, okay, and we need to get it back to here because that's way off. You would use the arrow keys like this, keep moving this. I'd move these arrow keys up and down and around, and you could go up and down, right or left in the old days. Okay, I think you could go diagonal too. And you would keep moving those keys. Go bigger. Okay, you'd keep moving those keys until you were right over that center crosshair. Nope, little to the left. A little more. Little over to the left. I don't have any thread in it. So that's how you target it, and that's how we did this for a long time. Okay, so then you would go ahead and sew. You could also trace your design, which was this little shape. You would hit that and it would trace out the square. Again, it's tracing the square. That is not the shape of the design. Only on the multi-needle machines, when it does a tracing, does it trace the outer edges of the design. That's the only one that does that. Okay, so, but new technology, at the next step in technology, we had not just middle and lower left, we now had 9 points that we could use to target. So I could go here, okay, and check to see if I am straight. Okay, I'm straight there, and I would check the one at the bottom. Needle down, and it's straight. Okay? Because if one was on this side and one was on this side, that means we needed to rotate the design. And we do, you know, so that was a lot of help. So that you could now rotate it. Instead of rehooping it, you could simply rotate your design. Then the next generation, we had the targeting, the pen. That one. Just putting it back in the middle. Okay, and now this told you to, these were saying, do you want to target, this one says we're targeting the center. This one says we're targeting and we're looking this way. This one we're targeting and looking this way. In other words, it gives you the 9 points again. But I'm going to leave it at the center. And what it tells you to do is you are going to hit the center key, hit OK. And it tells you to hit the center point. So that's when you would use this pen. See, this machine's got designs through the ages, okay? And then you would hit this right in the center. That gives you the center point. Then it tells you to touch it again, which is going to be this point, which now gives you your angle. Okay? And see, that's what it told you to do. Then I hit OK. And then OK again, and now it moves it. I don't know why it put it right there, but here is right. It's right in the center. Is that right there? No. My pen is not calibrated at all. But what it did tell me is because, and my pen, I need to go back. And this happened with decorative stitches, and I should have calibrated your pen. You do need to calibrate this pen from time to time so that when you point, it is exactly right, and it's not right now. So I'm not going to use that one. But theoretically, what it would do, it's off. But if you hadn't hooped straight, it told me that it moved it up almost 1/4 of an inch and moved it to the right almost 1/10 of an inch, and it rotated 0.2 degrees. Okay, I'm just going to go back to move center there, and I don't want it rotated. Rotate back, reset. Okay, alrighty. Okay, then that technology after that is my favorite of all. The snowman. Use these snowmen. These do the same thing that the pen did, because when you're looking at this snowman, okay, this big one is my center, this one is my angle, so it's essentially using the pen and touching it for you. So I would peel off a sticker, and if you use up all your stickers, we do have replacement sheets at the store. Then I would put this where my crosshairs would go. Again, it isn't. This is where you would use your template, because you need your crosshairs. Take this out, put it in the center there. Okay, so I would line up the marks. Okay, and you put that down. See, that's crossed right here. These lines are all straight. Okay, and my crosshair. Okay, then I would go to my machine. Okay, and I would pick the snowman icon, and that's been around, I think, since the Elagio had the snowman, started with the snowman. And I want center, and that's good. You tell it where you want that snowman is going to be on those 9 points. I'm going to use the center, so I pick this one. Okay, then I hit scan and OK, and then it's going to scan and go look for it. Found it, and there it goes. Then it says remove it. And And let's remove this and let's see if we got it. And you can use this, I usually just stick the snowman on top of my machine because you can use it several times before all the sticky is gone. Okay. And if I go down, yep, right there in the center, exactly. So it did it for you. So yes, my targeting pen is off. I gotta go calibrate it. Okay, and it's good to test it once in a while. I rarely use it. That's why I don't think I ever calibrated it, come to think of it. All right, let's put some darker thread and let's stitch this one, because guess what, we're going to do a second one where we want it to touch. So we'll use some further targeting for that. So let me I love that needle threader. Yeah, I couldn't handle that without it. Okay. And I've got bobbin thread in, and I'm just going to go ahead and stitch this. Okay, well, this is a little short design, so we'll just stitch it out. And finally, okay, and I'm going to now rehoop this, because we'll say we want to do another design that's touching it. And we're not going to talk about continuous border today. That'll be left for another time. I don't think we'll have time. So combining designs together. Okay, this is what we had to do. We would print this on vellum. Okay. So I could, where did my little ruler go? There it is. I'm going to extend this line out because we're going to go to this side. Because I already know that's where I need it to go. And this is what I usually do with a continuous, if I were doing this as a continuous border in the old days, I would draw one line all the way down my fabric. Okay, and then I'm going to put my template here so that it's touching, and draw the crosshairs. Okay, and here's my new crosshair. Okay. Oh, we might as well talk about the continuous border, but not using the continuous border function. I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned way, which we had. Anybody talk about the color purple? Oh, no. It was the latte quilt. We had to do this a lot. So we got really good at it. Okay. Line up this crosshairs. Like that. Grab everything. And usually if I grab stabilizer and everything, I can sort of move stuff around. It should be positioned already. I mean, tensioned enough. And I'm doing it off a little bit. Move bottom into top, and it's a little crooked. See, I can tell I'm getting it a little crooked. There we go. Okay. There we go. And now pop this out. This is where I want to go next, and we're going to show you some other targeting devices that this does. So come back over here, and we're going to stitch this design, or we're going to place this design again. Okay. To get this to match and touch up just where you want it to go, we'll start with old technology. Okay, I would change this to, I would put this in the center to move it until, because I didn't hoop it just right. See, it's a little off, so I need to go up, one over. Okay, again, one up, one over. Okay, now I don't know if it's going to touch. I know that's my center, but I don't know exactly if it's going to touch over here. So this is the old-fashioned, this is what we used to have to do to see if it would match. I would go over to OK to embroidery. Okay, plus or minus key, and notice there is like a green, there's like a green thing here. I'm going to advance this until I see that. I want it to this outermost, this leftmost or rightmost corner. Can't tell right from left. So I'm going ahead, oh, maybe too far. This has 230 some stitches, so that's too far. And I'll go 10. Going ahead 10. Okay, let's see. There, that is that. See how the green screen, the green crosshairs is over on that left-hand corner. Then I could come over to this machine. Ooh, too close. Okay. And drop that needle. Okay, it's exactly touching. That's what we would have to do. And if it didn't touch, then you would go back to 0. If it did, say it didn't touch, raise that up again. Go back to 0. Okay. Move it till it, like, okay, I need to go over to the left, maybe 1 stitch. I would go to my move and move it over to the left 1 little notch or 2. And I'd repeat that over and over until I got it just right. That's what would happen whenever you had to do what, before we had continuous border, before we had snowman. This is how we used to do it. Okay, so new technology. Okay. Again, probably I would you'd use your pen. Let's just say I was using my pen. I would tell it, no, I'd probably use the center again. I would like one right here. There's not one there. But, cancel this out. But I could also go to this one here, which is that tracing line, or your, now I have my 9 points. I could hit the center right hand corner, check it. Is it there? Yep, it's there. Okay. And I'm going to go back to 0. Okay. So yes, now I know I have it targeting to that spot, and I know it would touch. Okay. The third this way is the snowman. Again, I would use my snowman. Here's my snowman. And let me get it. And I could target here if I wanted to, which would be my center. Okay, say I have my target here on this center. That's where I want it to look. Then I would come over here. Get that out of the way. And keep that straight. And it's right here. Okay. And then I'd scan it. Okay. Then you remove it and stitch. Okay. And now the latest in the technology is the camera. I want to see if it's gonna stitch. Okay. I'm going to use my camera. return camera right here. It's going to scan what's there. Okay, and so now the machine is scanning. Oh, it went really easy, okay? And it shows you on the screen what it has stitched and where the new design's gonna go. And if you look at that fairly close, look at that. That's a little off, okay? So I'm gonna move that. I'm gonna hit move. And I'm gonna scoot it up just a tiny, it's actually, nope, that's too far, right there. I only needed that tiny little bit, and I think it's over a little bit too far, right there. So now it's just barely touching, because now I can see where it's gonna go. Same thing as if this were a pocket, and you wanted to line it straight up with the top edge of the pocket, or a seam or something, you can now see it. I'm gonna move it over a little bit there. And now this helps to place, you know exactly where it's gonna go. And we're gonna do this one more time in a second. So anyway, then we're gonna go ahead and stitch it. Let me scoot back out and let's stitch this. Yeah, I didn't quite. There, just kissed it. I did move it a little. Well, let's compare it to the picture. Okay. Okay. Note that gap. Okay. See that little gap right there? So when I look at this, I see that gap. And guess what? It stitched that exact gap. There's the stitching, and there's the gap. I can see the gap. So actually see how it's about the same scale? So it did gap exactly the same as it thought it would. Okay, and let's see, anything else I need to say about scanning? What I was going to show was scanning. If your scan disappears, you would go to your settings pages. I think it's page 9, the last one, and you can turn that off. And it'll stay there in your memory until you either delete it or scan something over top of it. So, let's see, anything else about placement that way that I can think of? Anybody have any questions? So like I said, this helps with the continuous border. In fact, I could come up here, and I'm going to put this, I'm going to use these 5x7 frame, I think, just to be bigger. This is not hooped correctly. I put it on over here. I didn't hoop it correctly, and it's because I don't have enough room on that side, but I'm not going to actually stitch it. But if you look at this, it's crooked. It's like really awful. This is some pretty pathetic hooping, right? It's not even straight, nothing. Okay, so guess what we're going to do? We're just going to scan it to place it. Okay, and it's going to scan. Okay, this part's real helpful if you want to design your own fabric. You want embroidered fabric? This can help. You can also use the linking, but we're not going to talk about that today. So I'm going to hit move. And I'm going to move this. Because now I can see. Okay, see how that's like, I'm going to make this bigger. I go bigger. Okay, see, it's crooked. It's not even straight. So at this point I could go to rotate, and I can rotate it to the left a little bit. Maybe move it up. Okay. Pretty good. See, now I can see I have those butting up against each other. So if I wanted to stitch that and make my own fabric, I can tweak it and get it exactly where I want it. I don't know if this will stitch because it doesn't have much support on that side, but let's try it. I'm going to try it. And it's stitching. Let's see what it does. I know it's called a positioning stick. We all call it the snowman now. We've been calling it. Snowman icon on the luminaire should be in about the same place. It will be in that second edit. You have two edit screens. Oh, let's take a look at that. Not bad. Not bad at all. Looks good. Okay. So where is the, on the luminaire, it should be in the same place or in the same area. You would go to edit, and if there's more things, you can scroll up and down till you see that edit. It should be in the edit screen in the same spot, or close to the same spot. I hope that answers your question. How many of you still have your old machines? I'm one of them. I have my old Aspire, and I have my Intrigue, which is a 4x4, which is sort of like the Sophia. And so I still have those two machines. Both of them still take cards. In fact, even the Elegante still takes cards, but it's got better position. Well, it's the same positioning, close to the same thing. So, like, learning how to do things the hard way makes you just appreciate all this new stuff. So, let's see, any questions? Targeting, anybody having problems with targeting? One thing I can say is that there's calibrations in the settings pages for some of this targeting stuff, and if it's not working out for you and you have a machine with a camera, that might be an issue. You might want to talk to with Justin if you can't get it to target correctly. Like with the pen, I know it's out of calibration. This stupid pen is out of calibration, and say that's if you have the Journey, I forgot the other brands that have it, that have this pen as a position as targeting, then and you can't get it to calibrate, that's something you want to talk to about with Justin, because there could be a miscommunication between the arm and the software, and that can happen from time to time. Or if your snowman's not working right, it's not calibrated correctly, that's something you need to talk to about with Justin. So anyway, have a great weekend, and hope to see you Tuesday or Thursday, or even better, next Saturday for club. Don't forget to send me your pictures. Love you guys. Bye.